Hey everybody, this is Midnight Update. I'm Seamus Byrne. Welcome to Tuesday, June 2nd. This is the end of day 0 here at E3. The official festivities kick off tomorrow, but there's already been a lot to see today. First up, we had the Microsoft keynote address with a lot of their big new stuff on show, and then also I got along to EA's big press conference. And so let's have a quick look at some comments from both the Microsoft conference and then also just after the EA press conference. And you'll see my wrap-up of everything they had to say on those. So I'm here just after Microsoft's E3 keynote, and it was definitely a good keynote as far as they go. Now, in past years, you get a lot of waffle and things. This year, they got straight into a whole bunch of really good demos, and so we've got a lot of good games that are on the way. We've seen some of the standouts for me, games like Alan Wake, that looked awesome. And Alan Wake and also Splinter Cell Conviction were two really good examples of games where they're playing with how they're going to get through the story exposition in the game. So we got cool things in Splinter Cell Conviction like the story being overlaid in video modes within the game world. Really cinematic, really stylish, and it looked amazing. In Alan Wake, they used the fact that the main character is a writer to do a TV-style main character in a monologue voiceover to drive the story forward, and that was really cool too. So a lot of cool games on show, and then we also saw Hideo Kojima showing for the first Metal Gear Solid for Xbox 360. That's going to be Metal Gear Solid Rising, which will be a Raiden game. And then into some of the tech stuff, we saw some really cool news for Australians in that the whole video side of the project is going to be relaunched as a Zune video store, and this is going to be available worldwide, and that's going to mean movies and TV shows available for direct download on your Xbox. This also means 1080p is the new format that they're pushing it out in, and they're saying instant on play. So that's going to be interesting to see how well that actually streams, and hopefully that means they got some local servers or something going on, because that's going to be big. Other news. We also saw the launch of the biggest news, Project Natal, which there's been some rumors for a while about Xbox introducing a motion 3D camera system, which will mean no controller in the hand, purely waving your arms about and flapping about. I guess it's like iToy on steroids. So we're talking 3D cameras, but then they're talking face recognition, voice recognition, the entire system just looking amazing as kind of a whole new way to play. They're talking about tracking multiple people in a game. One of the other cool things was, I guess, always the number of celebrities they get up on stage. Now, they opened with some biggies here at the Microsoft keynote with the Beatles basically on stage. So we had Paul and Ringo, we had George Harrison's son, we had Yoko Ono, and we had Olivia Harrison. So that was a pretty good lineup to start the show. This was right at the start of the show. They'd mentioned yesterday that they wanted to start the show a little bit early because they had something special to kick it off. So that was Rock Band Beatles action, and it is actually looking amazing. I was not overly enthused by Rock Band Beatles, but the style that they've given it looks great. They really look like they're kind of working it as an evolution of the Beatles. So you start the game in the early days and you move forward with the Beatles. That looked really cool. Other people, Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg was on stage showing, talking things up. I guess he's already been involved with the Wii, with Boom Blocks, and so this was really interesting to see him here to talk about Project Natal as the advancement of the whole motion gaming concept. So that was pretty cool. Felicia Day was also here talking up some of the new features of Facebook integration. They were talking Facebook and Twitter. The cool thing with the Facebook Connect actually was the idea of being able to post screenshots directly out of games into Facebook. I think that's actually a pretty cool feature. They're saying it'll launch with Tiger Woods, but hopefully that expands quite quickly, because that could be a really nice way to, again, add more of the social side of things, even in single-player games. But yeah, nice kind of range of different celebrity types. Tony Hawk was here showing off his new game. He didn't get on the board and do any tricks on this kind of new fancy peripheral. So it'll be interesting to see what that actually looks like on the show floor with the new version of Tony Hawk Ride. But yeah, a good collection. I can't think, was there anyone else? Yeah, that was about it. So a nice little spattering of celebrities, and I'm sure we'll see plenty more over the next couple of days. In general, Xbox has done a great job of consolidating where they are, showing that there's a lot of great new games on the way, and that they're really expanding the idea of the living room experience across video entertainment, audio entertainment, and the new control system with Project Natal. So looks like a good year ahead for Xbox and a really good keynote. So I've just come out of the EA keynote address, and they went through basically 12 of their big games for this year's show. Some more interesting than others. Now, they opened the show with a clip from Dante's Inferno, which I have to say I think is looking better every time I see it. It looks really, really sexy. Really, when they talk about the whole issue of like mature gaming and bringing a bit more grunt and meat to these kinds of games, I think going back to classical literature and bringing some oomph from that kind of perspective is great. And I think it's great to see that they're really featuring a game like this as a featured IP in something new, and it's great to see from EA. Mass Effect 2, the big confirmation here was that Commander Shepard is definitely back. And in the clip they showed, a character in-game definitely asks that question, but you're back from the dead? Or you're meant to be dead? So, you know, that was kind of cool that that's a confirmation. Then when they went into the EA Sports range, one of the interesting things there is that they're going to be releasing EA Sports MMA next year. So they're deciding to jump into the mixed martial arts space as well. And obviously UFC, THQ has that license. Grand Slam Tennis, they showed that. And then the celebrity appearance for this keynote was Pete Sampras coming out on stage to play a bit of Grand Slam Tennis. Then for me, I guess I hadn't seen anything about this game, and it's probably the coolest one I'd seen yet, is a game called The Saboteur. I don't know if you've heard anything about it, but a really cool World War II game where you're playing a French resistance fighter, and the whole world is very black and white vibe, and you really get to see the world. I guess you add more colour to the world as you complete missions, and you bring kind of inspiration back to the people of Paris. And they're basically setting it up as an open world Paris environment, and one of the comments he even made was, yes, you will be able to scale the Eiffel Tower if you choose to. Then they went into Brutal Legend. Confirmations on Brutal Legend covered things like some of the gods of metal who will be appearing in-game, voicing characters. Rob Halford, Lemmy from Motorhead, Lita Ford, and the big confirmation was Ozzy Osbourne will be playing one of the gods of metal in the game. Then they rounded things out. Crysis 2. Absolutely nothing in terms of detail. They just mentioned Crysis 2 will be coming, and they'll talk about it more later in the year. And then they finished with Star Wars The Old Republic. The big announcement attached to this is the fact that every character you encounter will be voiced, uniquely voiced, that is. So they were saying this is potentially one of the biggest ever voice acting projects in entertainment history. They're saying thousands of characters will all be voiced by discrete individual different people with their own scripts. So that is pretty massive. So there's a few comments from the events of today. Interesting chatting with some other journos over the course of the day, wandering around, that Microsoft keynote is definitely considered to be one of the best of recent years, and a really good throwing down the gauntlet kind of a keynote that certainly sets up a big challenge for Nintendo and Sony tomorrow morning at their addresses. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they've got anything to back that up, because right now Microsoft is looking like they've got a very big year ahead off the back of that. And that's all for tonight's update. Thanks for stopping by. You can join me weeknights around midnight Los Angeles time this week for all the latest news on E3. And for more information, visit midnightupdate.com.